Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. My name is DB333 and welcome back to Hearts of Iron 4, The New Order, Last Days of Europe. Now, last video, let me recall real quick, we started working on figuring out the situation with the Ostland. I believe we kicked out both, it was the SS, predominantly, at that point. But we dealt with them. We might be dealing with Norway coming up soon. Working on getting a bit of our stab back up and running. We got our political campaigns finished up, so we have a bit more stuff going our way. We need, I think it's like, what, 75% stability? For, yeah. For the Warsaw Plan. So we will have to just wait a little bit. I'm trying to see what we should do. I'm guessing we're going to get an event a little bit coming up about the war here. But until then, I think we should end Aryan. Alright, so is this going to cost us 5 stability or 10 stability? I'm going to assume it's 5. The fixation of the Reich on racial purity has gone completely out of hand. The Anpas documents issued to certify the Aryan heritage of the individual is widely disliked by Speer supporters. The Führer himself would profess that their objections are based on the additional layer of red tape that adds to employment and education opportunities. But none can deny the increasingly loud moral objections to it as well, particularly within Speer's cabinet. Though a radical move that is likely to enrage the Nazi Party, and especially SS sympathizers, abolishing laws pertaining to the monitoring of racial hygiene is a bullet that we must bite for the sake of our own future. It's time that we move on from ideological obsessions and focus on what will produce a better world for citizens of the Reich. I'm gonna hope that, yeah, it's only that little bit, and then will help best. Yeah, we're probably going to do the Schmidt proposals after this. Get a bit more stab. Yeah, so let's start that. So we're at 44% right now. Hopefully it will stay where it is. And then we can also believe at a certain point, yeah, we can charge reactionaries with treason, which will give us a heck of a more stab that we're going to need to get to a certain point before that. But that'll be really nice. Oh. The Führer's office, unlike the rest of Reichskanzlei, is quiet but far from inactive. Behind the heavy engraved doors, a meeting is being held, one that will decide the very future of Africa. With all due respect, Herr Tresckow, investing our limited resources in desperate conflicts started by a fool is a risk we cannot afford so soon after we lost almost everything in a civil war, says Helmut Schmidt. Albert Speer sighs. So I've been going like this for almost an hour. Please, Reich Minister Schmidt, elaborate on your thoughts, comes his tired question. Mein Führer, while I understand that the Field Marshal's train of thought, we had a civil war mere months ago. We don't then quickly, it might cripple the reconstruction effort, or worst. My proposal is simple. We can send help to the Reichskommissariat to save face, but we won't commit fully to the war. We'll use this as a bargaining chip with the Americans, stalling the war until the outcome is favorable. The Americans will be the winners, but we won't be the losers. They may even show their gratitude later. I disagree with Herr Schmidt, von Tresckow replies, incensed. The Americans will exploit any weakness we show. We must show none. Our relationship with the USA may change in the future, but for now they are our enemies, and we need to show that we are still superpower. Go on, Field Marshal. Came Speer's interested reply. Mein Führer, my plan of attack is as follows. We send our Reich commissariats all the troops and supplies they need, while at the same time denying that they are at war with the Americans. They won't be able to protest, as they are doing the same as us, and if we manage to prevail, they won't make the same mistake twice in future negotiations. Both plans are sound, but choice is difficult. A leader, however, must act when needed. With a heavy heart, Speer knows what the Reich needs to do. Let's just avoid an escalation. Ooh. We might need to do vast political promises temporarily. That's what I'm thinking, at least. And then we'll review the laws. And we have a progressive outlook right now. We are moving out of conservative. Alright, lost souls have finally found their rest. No division's basic training. I'm not worried about that. We'll look into why that is later. Hold speeches, token political promises. There we go, 42%. What's our minimum? Below 30%. Okay, yeah. So worst case scenario, we shall be fine. Actually. Wait, yeah, we have to do the, what is it? The Sonder. Or Gerecht. Yeah, so we will suspend the studies. How's our economy coming along? Our military expenditure is nutter butters. Jesus. Also, I say we can just say disband this army and probably be fine. Does that do anything with our It does nothing for our military budget. Okay. So I did that for no reason. Well, not no reason. It'll be quicker to do that now than later. We'll get into why that is later. Regardless of our chosen position on the Nuremberg laws, in their current state, they are the source of endless debates, arguments, and even riots. Everyone, barring avowed Bormanites, agree that they need to be revisited at the very least. We'll formally announce, through state media, that a review of the laws will be carried out in due course by the Führer and his trusted advisors. If nothing else, it will soothe the current unrest over them and give us some breathing room. There's more to the situation, of course. Even today, after mere decades of National Socialist rule, we can see that Hitler's racialism proved the catalyst for the birth of Himmler's deranged, rabidly purist ideology. Even in the US, which once taught us so much about proper racial segregation, is inexorably moving away from the radical racial hierarchies. If we fail to abolish or amend our current policies, who knows where that might lead us? That's in red, so that's probably foreshadowing. And we should probably at least take a look at the Norway issue. Because I have to imagine we must protect our homes. The Great Game. Oh, what? Where was that? Ooh, okay. Well, that's a lot of guarantees already. Just like so many others before it, so has Norway finally escaped our grasp under the cover of Bergerkrieg. However, that does not mean that they can no longer be useful to our administration. Her Speer is a benevolent man and is willing to not only leave the free Norwegians in peace, but to work with them again and reintroduce them to the Speer as something more than serfs and subhumans. Interesting. I'll worry about that later. Right, we gotta get back to that because it got undone. That's annoying. Slightly. Not that bad, but... Ooh, yeah, our stab is really... I think it... Did it take the... Yeah, it took the 10% hit. Damn it. That's not nice. Support weapons 5. Review the laws. Alright. Start as early and follow as closely as possible to work best. Alright. Sondergerecht. Policy is all well and good, but we live in a society far removed from the norms of Weimar and the Second Reich. The consolidation and defense of our Führer's newfound power will not be achieved by the accumulation of votes or careful backroom negotiations, but by decisive action and ruthless use of the justice system. Though we walk the path to a better world, our enemies crowd around us, seeking to drag our Führer into the muck of ideological fanaticism. Naturally, there's only one solution. We must follow in Hitler's footsteps and use all means necessary to crush our most resilient opponents. The corrupt criminals and Nazi party bureaucracy must be rooted out and crushed underfoot, consigned to fitting judicial sentences or otherwise removed as obstacles. The public will have a full, unadulterated demonstration of the honest German justice, boosting confidence in their Führer and proving the benevolent nature of our administration, of course. So 10 stab, our regime stability will go up as well, which is nice. We really need that. Okay, so let me see. We could do stalemate at this point. Let's see. Yeah, we weren't gonna win this round anyway, so I'm not too worried about that. Yeah, Central Africa's just wasting their troops. Okay. We start off with 3, they have 2. Alright, we can deploy our agents. The German minority along with Danny was rather sizable. The Hungarian government tends to leave those who pay their taxes alone, and Aryans are certainly no exception. A few more German faces amongst the crowds won't raise suspicions. Let's do it. Send some manpower their way. We'll see what happens. They're also trying to ignore German restrictions. Posters are slowly coming down across the Reich. Radio programs are subtly returning to their normal broadcasts. Television networks are losing their political bent. The propaganda campaign is concluding and the final phases are underway. Statisticians in the Roxhall and the Chancellery are running the data and polling. Discussing does seem within the realms of possibility, and that possibility is something that Speer is more than happy with. Okay. So, bread and circus. Well, our military budget, yeah, it's not changing at all. Where's our economy tab? There it is. I mean, I don't know what else I can do to cut it, honestly. Let's work on infrastructure, honestly. Ooh, right, we have Bornholm. Dang. The Danes have really been neutered. Feels bad. Let's try to get all our stuff up to 8 for now. Yeah, 7, 8. Yeah, there we go. 8's all around, even in Bornholm, why not? That's 9, but you know what? They deserve as much. Those poor Danes. Now we can hold the speech. Get some token political promises, of course. We're gonna lose some regime stab, it seems. Yeah. It's not desirable, but we will get working on the Sondergerecht. we honestly... Will it be enough? No, it won't be enough, so we can start the other stuff. But, it's worth a shot. We could maybe launch another campaign one of these days. Alright, so we got the, we got this. We just need, really, the, regime stability. And we are so close. Gosh darn it. Okay, so this will neutral out. Seems, yeah. You're not alone. Yeah, okay, let's do the Schmidt proposal. And look, Schmidt is perhaps even more controversial than his counterpart in the economic ministry, but for very different reasons. Where Erhard is all action, Schmidt is all talk. As foreign minister, that's his job. But talk is considered a dangerous pastime by the Nazi Party. Talk might mean dissent, something that Schmidt has in spades. An outsider to the Nazi National Socialist political system. Not even Schmidt's time as a soldier in the Second World War makes him trustworthy in the eyes of the party. Luckily for Schmidt, the Führer cares nothing for what the party thinks. The fact that is that the Reich's reputation is in the gutter thanks to the past wars and the nature of our great nation. Speer's ascendance to the Führership has been welcome around the world, but we have yet to be properly rehabilitated in the eyes of our fellow nations. Schmidt believes that the equally important to the Führer's reforms is a wide-reaching diplomatic offensive to show the world how serious we are about being a modern, peaceful nation. All the reforms at home will add up to nothing if we can never again be trusted by the community of nations. You know what? That works with me. Let's do it, Schmidt. Schmitty. Ooh. It was a frigid morning with dawn still out. Are we going to be able to do it? I think we'll actually be able to do it. When Albrecht Lorenz was sentenced to death. Woken by insistent hammering on his apartment door shortly after midnight, Lorenz was incautious in his drowsy state. Had he been more alert, he might have realized that the armed men outside his door were Gestapo officers possessed of absolute loyalty to the new Führer. Gagged, blindfolded, cuffed, and unceremoniously bundled into the back of a waiting car, Lorenz had struggled and thrashed all the way from his home to the special court set up in local Nazi headquarters. When he was thrown into a cold steel chair before a known Speerite judge, Lorenz finally comprehended his predicament. His bindings removed, he loudly and insistently proclaimed his innocence in the few seconds before someone had struck him over the head with a truncheon. He recovered in just enough time excuse me, to hear a verdict. In accordance with the Führer's directives, this court finds you guilty of treason, homosexuality, and Bolshevik sympathies. The sentence is death. Hauled from the Supreme Court by balaclava-wearing guards, none present would ever forget Lorenz screaming to protest as he was dragged out behind the court, put up against a brick wall, and shot twice in the head with a P-38. Thus begun the Great Purge, and the end of the Reich's fifth columnists. Our new Führer has teeth. Some more regime stability, more political power. Ooh. And a news event. In a bid to cleanse the Nazi Party of members, Albert Speer, Führer of the German Reich, has begun the Sondergericht, a new trial that saw several members of the party accused of a variegated list of crimes from abuse of power to accepting bribes and even treason. As a result of this, several democratic countries have protested against what had appeared to be a purge in disguise, but this didn't deter the government in Germania. After several months, Speer has achieved a double result. Not only has he tightened his grip on the party, but the German people are also much more supportive of his regime. With the options once more in his favor, the Führer can now concentrate on more important matters. They fucking got what they deserved, see? Alright. So we can charge reactionaries with treason, which will give us a big fat boost to regime stability. And so we'll be good even with our political promises. Ooh. Collapsing in. Let me see. Yeah. So that's not nice, don't get me wrong, but stability. Alright. Another day, another cartload of problems. In his office at the center of the Reich Kanzlei, Albert Speer, Führer of the German people, is tired. Tired and stressed. Even after the war's end, there is no rest. The reconstruction is proving more difficult than predicted. The party's bureaucracy is already starting to resist the changes suggested by the Gang of Four, like the proverbial clay pot. Speer feels powerless to act, a small raft engulfed by the stormy sea. Taken by the sudden need to escape, he stands from his chair and goes to the window. Perhaps it will do him some good to gaze at the great Germania he himself designed. Looking outside, a wave of memories surges from Speer's mind, snippets of a life that was a mere decade ago, and yet feels as if it was another geological era, showing Hitler the progress made as the two friends laughed heartily, visiting construction sites, directing the workforce, and finally the Volkshall's inauguration, the crowning moment of his life as an architect. It was a different age, one where the future looked glorious, not this maddening quagmire. The more he looked over what he built, however, the more of a feeling of dread crept over him. Why is that building over there still unfinished? Why is that apartment block so bare? The slots for decorations are all empty. More than anything, who is that incompetent who used low-quality stone for the walkways? They are so full of cracks already. As he finds more and more critiques, he also feels something else, a need he had not felt in years. He wants to correct those mistakes, to make them right, but even more, he wants something new. His hands itch with the need to design, to give tangible form to the things in his mind. How wonderful it would feel to be once more, even if just for a moment, Speer the architect. However, was an architect without his tools. Note to self, bring the tools to the office tomorrow, and then we'll be back to work. Alright, so we'll have to get Norway in our faction as well as Ukraine, which we'll have to deal with Poland first. As everyone except the security leaves the Reich Kanzlei, a single light is still on. In the Führer's office, there's still someone working for the good of the German people, or at least that's what the headlines would report, because putting a sign on the door that says, Architekt bei der Arbeit, Zugang verboten, would be a bit misleading. With his work completed, the Führer can finally punch out and let the architect take his place. Speer clears his desk and takes his tools out of a case he had brought from his home. They are old, but they still work, just like him. That's more than enough. He had waited this moment for the entire day, and he looks at the large empty sheet. He feels like a painter, staring at a blank canvas, ready to fill it with his art. All kinds of ideas swim through his mind, from tall, bold skyscrapers to simple houses and small villas. With a trembling hand, he takes up ruler and pencil and draws the first line. The first sheet goes straight to the dustbin, followed by the second and third. Trembling lines and small blunders irk the perfectionist inside Speer, but more than 5 years of inaction requires some time to catch up. The fourth sheet, however, survives the initial scrutiny. In the end, he has settled on public office, a classic of his old practice. As the jumbling mess of lines seemingly draw randomly acquires purpose, and forms itself into the skeleton of a building, a smile creeps itself onto Speer's lips. He is finally free from the stress, from the obligations, from the quagmire, doing what he loves. After a while, the architect stretches his arms and looks at his work. The essential frame, the easiest part, is done now. Now it's time to start the real work. He looks to his watch and jumps. It's already past midnight. Best going to sleep, or tomorrow will be a pain. As he goes home, however, he can't help but wonder, will his newest design ever become a reality? Or will it retain a small closet dream, one to be put in a museum after his death? I'm the Führer. After all, I might as well be selfish for once. That is the artist's dilemma, after all. Let's launch another campaign. Get that going. Well, our stab is no good, let me tell you. What, this was... Alright. The architect looks with satisfaction at his work. The foundations and the main frame of the building he has been painstakingly designing are done and ready to be built. From the quality of the concrete to the exact amount of steel bars needed to sustain the edifice. Everything is specified with pinpoint precision and several side notes written in regular handwriting. Now all that remains is the facade, and this is where the true challenge begins. With a sigh, Speer realized that he never bothered resuming his theoretical studies after he became entangled in the Reichspolitik. Trying to survive in a world where most of your colleagues want to kill you, after all. Quite the demanding task. And now he curses himself for not having updated his knowledge. How is he supposed to finish his new masterwork? What will be the final stroke on the canvas? Looking outside for inspiration, he sees once more his greatest success, with all its flaws and mistakes. Would it be best to follow in his own footsteps and use the style that forged Germania into what it is now? To act as if nothing changed in the last 10 years, for a moment he thinks of a new grand structures built in the U.S., with their new lines and glass walls. Is the future the way forward? To fully let go of the past and find a new beginning? With a last look at the Vauxhall, a final thought enters his own mind. What if the third way is indeed possible? A fusion of old and new, of past and future design, a melting pot where both ideals wouldn't have to make a small sacrifice for the sake of art. As the fear architect takes pencil and roll once more, he has made his decision. I shall pave a new way for future architects to follow. Oh, genau. Exactly. I wonder, okay, I'm at this much military expenditure. Does that lower it? I don't think it did. Yeah, I'm literally just tossing shit right now. I'm throwing away stuff and just hoping it works. Alright, so we can do Neighbors at Home in the Land of Rising Sun or Beyond the Atlantic. This will stable us out, it seems. Yeah. Beyond the Atlantic. Far to the west lies our fiercest adversary, the United States of America. Regardless of the fact that we exacted no brutally harsh terms against them upon their capitulation, they hold us responsible for the sorry state of your nation. The fact that we employed a nuclear weapon against them aside, they strenuously object to our colonialism and the continuation of National Socialist rule. No matter what their domestic situation looks like, the opinion of the U.S. influences the entire OFN as well as a number of neutral nations. We must achieve detente with our old foe to normalize relations with the, quote, free world. Schmidt has often expressed his desire to see America in person. Now he will have the opportunity. Securing good relations with the U.S. will not only be a crucial step in painting a new international image of the Reich, it will also open up trade that both our nations desperately need. German industry needs foreign investment, and our people will benefit from the greater choice in their purchases. There we go. So what do we have? What? Exploit family ties. Right, it's... we're doing okay right now. Let's try exploiting family ties, see if that does anything. It might come and bite us in the ass, which if that's the case, I'll look back. Alright, I'll finish up. I'll read this one first just because, just to finish up the event chain. As Speer reflects upon his choices, suddenly the truth dawns upon him. Didn't the Romans take the Ark from the Etruscans? The columns from the Greeks? Didn't they study the Egyptians in their stylized forms? Yes. Did this make them any less Roman? No! On the contrary, they grew with everything they learnt. Every new notion, concept, technique they absorbed. They didn't accept passively the foreign influence, but neither did they remain closed in their own little world. They assimilated, all following their own criteria, everything put into the perfect place for it to shine brightest. The solution, the breakthrough Speer needed, is there. The architect resumes his work, his mind a melting pot, slim, graceful stone columns hiding the steel inside them, just like his new Germany. Beautiful and proud, a steel gauntlet inside a velvet glove. The glass would take new forms, curved and elegant, fitting into the facade's fronton, and reflecting the light in a majestic eagle holding the laurel of victory. A rainbow of colors, mitigated by the pure white of a stone, would marvel visitors without scaring them, a comforting feeling of brightness and warmth. As the first rays of morning relieved his tired eyes, the architect turned Führer can't help feeling satisfied. This time, perhaps the first in his entire life, he has created something entirely new. A new style, a new fashion. Perhaps it will never take foot, but it doesn't matter. An artist works for himself first and foremost, and he finally understands that he is indeed still an artist. Now a new work awaits him, his masterwork, the coronation of his craft, to rebuild the Reich, to rebuild it into what was always meant to be, a nation fully capable of embracing the future without forgetting the past. As the cleaning staff opens the door and jumps, seeing the Führer still inside, Speer greets them with a wide grin. This is a great day for Germany, the first of many to come. A new dawn, a wonderful dawn. The future is now. So we get some PP and some stab. Very nice. Helmut Schmidt entered the Führer's office with a slightly timid Heil and a rather hasty salute, looking suspiciously out of practice to Speer's eyes. Here, then, was the man who would redeem the Reich on the world stage, an impossible task to many, but not one to one as ambitious as Speer. Speer was careful to shake Schmidt's hands before the two sat, smiling slightly as he did. "Schmidt," he said warmly, "good to finally greet you somewhere more appropriate. The Chancellery meeting rooms aren't nearly secure enough, are they?" Schmidt nodded and smiled nervously at the implication. Certainly, there were more than a few men in the party who would happily burst in waving a pistol if they knew the extent of what the Gang of Four was planning. Still, he said nothing, prompting Speer to clear his throat and lean forward, looking distinctly businesslike. "Now, Schmidt, I understand you have an outline for dealing with our present diplomatic situation. I'm sure you're aware that we have already seen some positive development on that front, but Erhard believes that we need something concrete to show our good intentions to the world." Yes, my Führer," replied Schmidt, quickly composing himself. A sort of a whirlwind tour, as the Americans say, straight to every capital that matters right now. Washington, Rome, Ankara, Tokyo, and so on. I'd undertake this myself, of course, since I'm an unknown quantity and can make a fresh impression on our old friends. The Pact, Convate, and obviously China, India, and so aren't priorities right now. Is this agreeable, my Führer? Speer nodded and smiled, genuinely this time. "Excellent work, Schmidt. We have two minds, clearly." The Führer rose from his seat, the sign that his foreign minister had the stamp of approval, and was dismissed. "Let me know when you're planning on to depart, and make sure you keep myself and the cabinet up to date on your progress. I'll leave the rest of you. Best of luck, Helmut." Time for a diplomatic makeover. Ooh, yeah. So down for a makeover. You have no idea. Is there a reason that Scania is a nation? Okay, exploiting family ties. We'll see what happens there. Looks like Italy isn't doing much. Let's reduce the war effort beyond the Atlantic. Next, we should probably go for the neighbors at home, right? Yeah, we're going to have to wait a bit for regime stability anyway to do a lot of his stuff. So we'll have to hold up. Yeah, a lot actually. Let's do neighbors from home. The Reich's reputation in Europe is arguably even worse than it is globally. 2 world wars in the first half of the century were enough to paint us as warmongering aggressors, with no regard for our neighbors. Add to that the deepening distaste for fascism across Europe and the fact that we dragged down everyone else's economies along with our own, and Germany finds itself the most loathed nation in European history. Our future success begins with that it begins at home, and our neighbors must learn to trust us again before we can begin to improve our situation domestically. Schmidt believes that any European nation not under our rule is worth investing into. The former triumphant nations are particularly important, but of course, but Sweden and Finland will also be key partners in this future endeavors. As part of this stage of our plans, Schmidt also wishes to make a detour to India. Though not yet a superpower nor hostile to us, India is one of the world's largest nations, representing enormous trade and investment opportunities. India is likely to become a major player in the world affairs within a few decades. Reaching out to them couldn't hurt. Yeah, let's do it. Well, with that, I'm going to have to cut it here, folks. Thank you for watching. As always, if you like this video, go ahead and leave a like. If not, feel free to dislike. If you want to see more of this content in the future, go ahead and hit the subscribe button for more uploads every weekday, as well as every Saturday. If you have any comments, feedback, concerns, anything of the sort, leave in the comment section below. I read all the comments again and appreciate any and all feedback you might have for me. If you want to send a few bucks my way, I have a Patreon. You can check that out on the link below. If you want to chat or play games, I have a Discord. If you want to watch me do this sort of stuff live, I have a Twitch. You can check out all that out in the links in the description below. That's it for now, folks. My name has been DB333. I have no idea I've been able to say this so quickly, but I'm going with it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.